Hi everyone, welcome to my workshop, or I should say my garage. My name's Andy Trice, and this is my guitar for the Great Guitar Build-Off of 2020. Been working on it for a bit. It is a hybrid nylon string electric with a walnut body. And in here, this is a void that was in the wood, carved it out, filled it with epoxy with a metallic blue pigment. And it has a flame spalted maple top. The neck is maple, walnut, maple multi-laminate with a walnut veneer on the top and a maple fingerboard. And there is a piezo under saddle pickup underneath the saddle. Then I've got a volume pot, and then I've got an onboard active preamp. It's got a Shannon Micro preamp, does impedance matching, so I can plug it into any guitar amp. And right now I'm running it through a Fender Hot Rod DeVille 212. Yeah, so check it out, and I hope you enjoy my build. The first thing I did was sketch out lots of ideas for shapes of the guitars that I want to build. Finally, once I had something I was happy with, I started working with the raw wood. This started out as 3 massive blocks of walnut and maple, and then ended up cutting out the body. What you see here is the void in the back that I mentioned. I ended up carving this out and then filling it with epoxy with a metallic blue pigment. Once I was happy with it, I started creating the chambers in the body. I got rid of most of the material with a drill press and a Forstner bit, and then cleaned everything up with a router. And then it was time to glue the top on. I think I used every clamp that I own while gluing the top. And the end result, I started looking pretty good, started looking like a guitar. Next, it was time to work on the neck. So I glued together the 3 layers of the multi-laminate neck, carved the truss rod, and then it was time to start assembling the fretboard. So I measured and cut the fret slots, and then glued everything together. Once that was dry, it was time to start shaping the neck. I had a lot of material to remove. So I got the basic shape on each end with a file, and then used a spoke shave to shave down the entire profile of the neck. With a little bit of sanding and cleanup, it really started to look like something that resembled an actual guitar neck. So I cut the slots in the headstock, and then built a jig to drill the tuning pegs. And then I started working on the inlay on the fretboard. I inlaid the rings into the fretboard, and then filled them with the same epoxy with metallic blue pigment, and sanded everything so it was perfectly level. Up next, I installed the frets and wicked in super glue from the ends, which I can say is actually very messy if you don't know what you're doing. Next, I routed the neck pocket and cleaned it up with some chisels. Once I had everything together and I was looking at it, I didn't like the shape of the guitar. So I cut a fairly large section off of the top horn, and then I sanded everything, and I mean lots of sanding to get it to the right shape. Once I had the body shape correct, I used a chamfer bit on a router to add a bevel to all of the edges of the guitar. And then it was time to level, crown, and polish the frets. Next, I measured and glued the bridge on. Next, it was time to make everything look good, so I started applying a true oil finish. At this stage, the figure in the wood and in that metallic epoxy really started to shine, and I'm extremely happy with how everything turned out. And after 6 coats of oil, it was time to start putting everything together.